This is the Wilbert Stainless Steel Triune, a burial vault that I've customized to honor the life of a state police officer who passed in the line of duty. Wilbert Funeral Services has the Commemorating First Responders program, where the burial vault and the Wilbert Way setup process is free of charge to the family. If cremation is chosen, the family may also choose a Wilbert urn vault and have it engraved. This program is intended to honor the heroic lives of our first responders and their families. Wilbert burial vaults do offer a personalized veteran stainless steel triune. This burial vault is painted veteran blue with a silver highlight, and the carapace on the top of the vault is that of an American flag with the name of the person who has passed, and if they so choose, a portrait of that individual as well. Now, there hasn't been a stainless steel triune that's been designed for a member of law enforcement, but I knew that in some way I wanted to incorporate the thin blue line to the paint on this burial vault. To prepare a stainless steel triune, we begin by using a 20 grit rubbing stone to remove any of the pieces of concrete on the very top of the carapace, and also to shape the sides to make sure the carapace fits properly. If any pieces of concrete or specks of the concrete dust are left over the carapace, it can sometimes alter the stainless steel cover that goes over the top. So we make sure that it's sanded down to ensure proper fitment, and also cleaned off properly to make sure the stainless steel has no dings or dents. The interior of this vault is lined with stainless steel. The liner itself is black in color, and we use black spray paint to match up where the concrete meets the liner. For the base coat on this burial vault, we will be using black paint. Once the black paint is dried, we will use silver as the highlight color to give the base and the edges of the lid that two-toned effect that you will often see in my videos. Wilbert produces the paint for the burial vaults that we use, and they have a standard line of colors, including black, white, silver, gold, bronze, copper, orchid tone, and a few others. But if we have a special request of some kind, we go to the Sherwin-Williams right down the road, and we can color match basically any casket or any themed burial vault that the family chooses. Over the years, I've had the honor of designing multiple different burial vaults with themes such as sports teams like the Cubs, White Sox, or Chicago Bears. I've done many different camouflage burial vaults, a Harry Potter burial vault, and a John Deere, and a few others. With the personalization on a burial vault, our main goal is to make each individual service more specific and personalized to that individual family. Once the base was completely painted black, I began brainstorming as to how I could make this vault have a pop of color with a thin blue line at some point in the lid. And for anyone who's ever painted on concrete, it's not a very flat surface, so creating straight lines can be incredibly difficult. Before moving on to the lid, we need to take the SST lid off of the boards that it rests on in storage. In most cases, we roll these burial vaults off of their forms just 12 to 14 hours after pouring the burial vaults, so we set them on boards rather than corner supports to make sure the corners of the vault lid don't break before it has time to cure. Before placing the buggy boards, I go over the black paint on the liner just one more time to make sure it's a clean transition from concrete to liner. The buggy boards keep the lid more safe in transport as it heads out to the cemetery. This burial vault weighs in excess of 2,600 pounds, with the lid weighing around 1,200 pounds. That is a lot of pressure to place on just the very corners of the burial vault when driving down the road, so we use larger boards to support the lid. And as always, shout out to the concrete master Eric for helping me out this morning. One thing that helps a small business run smoothly is having good coworkers and a good boss. Now that we have the buggy boards in place, we can remove the bolts from the lid that we use to move the lid around and paint over those. If something were to happen in the cemetery and the lid needed to be moved, we can remove those plugs and place the bolts back in and move the lid around in that way. In my opinion, the burial vault just looks cleaner when the caps are in place rather than painting over the bolts. For many burial vaults, we add glitter or metal flake to the top when the paint is wet, and the color of the flakes match with the highlight color, so the black paint on this lid will receive silver metal flake on the lid, and when it's out in the sun, that metal flake really shines. My initial idea was to add the thin blue line around the outer edge of the lid that you can see I did not paint yet. To add this color, I grabbed the thin blue line flag that will fly at the service and tried my best to mix up some paint to match that color. In hindsight, I should have looked at the design of the carapace in the office to see which color would match best with the top of the vault. That being said, I am happy with the way that it turned out, and I pray that in the near future I won't have another thin blue line vault to paint. The men and women in law enforcement have the utmost respect from our company, and we do the best we can to honor them when they pass. One thing I have learned over the years is that it is easier to create straight lines on concrete using spray paint rather than a roller. So for my thin blue line on the sides of the vault lid, I will paint up over the black that I've already painted and use a spray can to line up the edge once it dries. I have been asked before if the paint has to do with the sealing process of the burial vault, and it does not. The seal on this burial vault is entirely due to the liner on the interior of the vault. The concrete around the liner is what protects the liner from being damaged or breaking over time, and the butyl adhesive seal that lies in the groove of the lid is what provides the seal to the base. Once I was completed with the thin blue line around the sides of the vault lid, I decided to try to go with the same concept around the carapace on the top of the vault. The area that you see that is unpainted will get a stainless steel carapace with a print that runs the length of the vault. A carapace like this can be customized in an almost countless number of ways by a family. Usually it contains family pictures, portraits, names, and a background of some kind. For a veteran stainless steel triune, the entirety of the cover is an American flag blowing in the wind. Now luckily, using the cardboard, I was able to create a pretty clean line with the black spray paint. And I know this vault would have been high quality and looked great if it was just black with the silver highlight, but I felt like adding these thin blue lines was a nice touch given this situation at hand. Now that the base coat is done, we can add the silver highlight over the stamped design on the sides of the vault. We do this by creating a paste with the silver paint and using a sponge to lightly rub the edges of the vault. The raised up areas will get the paint and the indentations will not. Our last step in preparing this burial vault is to adhere the carapace to the lid. We lay out construction adhesive where the carapace will go and spread it thin to make sure that it sits down flat on top of the burial vault. This step is why it's so crucial to make sure that the top of the vault is clean and free of debris before placing the stainless steel down and pressing it into the adhesive. This vault will be set ovation style, meaning the lid will be leaned down towards the family and the vault will be viewed from the side. And as you can tell, the thin blue line on the carapace is a little bit darker than the paint that I used on the sides of the vault, but I think overall it was a beautiful tribute to someone who has served our community. The amount of effort that was placed into this service to honor the life of this young man is something that I will never forget. Miles of American flags lined the road to the cemetery. Police from across the United States were in attendance to pay their respects and show their support for this family. It's an honor for us as a vault company to be able to take part in a service like this and do everything in our power to show the same respect and support to the family who is experiencing this loss. So if you have a moment, please send out a prayer for all the first responders for their safety from day to day as they serve our communities. And if you see them out doing their job, give them a thank you. Let them know that the work they do does not go unnoticed. God bless the men and women in law enforcement and our first responders.